What is your definition of effective leadership, and what are the key qualities of such a leader?
It's a broad definition. Leadership is a process, it's not really a thing. For me, an effective leader is somebody who's prepared to learn. We need a leader to take us where we haven't been before, and of course that means that you're prepared to learn and to be flexible on the way. I think effective leaders ask, don't tell. I think they're okay to not know the answers, and they're okay to ask questions. I think we run into problems when leaders think they know everything, don't take any input, and of course all human beings have a blind spot. In my book on self-leadership, I define self-leaders as being very intentional. They know where they're going and they know why they're going there. They have that intentional frame of mind. They're accountable, they achieve the goals that they set out to do. They're flexible and adaptable, and they're resilient. They can take the knockback and keep coming back. And they're validating, they're self-validating. They can keep motivating themselves and validating their successes, and they validate others, so they share the credit. And so those are some of the qualities that I have discovered in my research and my practice around effective leadership.
Right. Certainly many people are fascinated with this concept, leadership. Can you share some experiences where leadership really made a huge impact on an organization or people's lives?
Well, I can only really share the experience from my interaction with leaders and leadership teams that in my role as a consultant. And I over the last couple of years did some work with a pharmaceutical company, global pharmaceutical company, but with their India operation. And I worked with the managing director, who was a real people person in the sense that he believed in developing his leaders. And we ran what we called a Gen Next program, the Generation Next leaders. And so we started that with his immediate direct reports and then cascaded that to their direct reports, so that organization had a pool of talent. So when a merger and acquisition occurred, they had leaders ready to go into that merger and acquisition who we developed and trained and coached and mentored. Now, that was a great example where these people felt a sense of ownership. They knew that they had a clear path, that this leader was prepared to roll up his sleeves and turn up at some of the learning and development activities that we created, and really role model out that leaders are learners and that they're prepared to ask questions.
If you were to name your top 5 leaders, living or otherwise, everyone should look up to, who would they be and why?
Top 5. The question becomes, leader against what criteria? I believe that we all have some level of clay feet. Any leader you pick, has some level of weakness. But my top 2 are always Nelson Mandela, for his resilience and his forgiveness. Spending 27 years incarcerated and then coming out and stepping up to a leadership position without acrimony, without revenge, I think was tremendous. Gandhi would always be number 2 in terms of he led a nation, resisted the British without any arms or official power position, and I think he really demonstrated, creating a movement from that perspective. I always like Anita Roddick, to put a female leader in there. We don't usually see a female leader in the top 5, but I think Anita really demonstrated that her passion for the environment enabled her to run a successful business. That business doesn't just have to be about the numbers. Steve Jobs, with his recent demise, always gets put up there. I would say Steve was a great leader from an innovation perspective. He took other people's ideas and commercialized them incredibly well. As a people leader, not so good. All right, not so good. But so we have to say this person is a leader because. And then I guess number 5 on my list would be, I'd say Richard Branson, because of his bringing fun to business, that he sets himself huge challenges and then tries to achieve them. That if a business isn't fun, he doesn't want to be involved. If it fails, he learns, picks himself up, and continues to move on. So, I guess those are my top 5. But that means that I've probably left out a lot of very good leaders that I should have included.
Right, but those are very, very good lists. Please talk about SelfLeadership International, and how do you think a corporate mission can help improve SSO leaders in today?
Okay, so for me, SelfLeadership International is the consulting business that is based on my methodology that I've been researching over the last 10 years, that unless you can lead yourself, you really don't have any business leading other people. So You know, the work that we do in terms of creating solutions to problems for organizations is very much around creating a culture where people can step up, have an authentic voice, be able to contribute their ideas and their energy to an organization's objectives. So very much working around what are they responsible for, taking ownership, and what are they responsible to, the accountability piece. And the work that I do with my clients is very much about helping the leaders and the followers to be able to have that conversation. What are you responsible for? What are you responsible to? And projects vary in size from small to large, and whether I lead that myself or with my team of coaches and trainers, I believe we make a difference because we humanize the leadership perspective and connect it to a bottom line. Is that if you get great ideas and you get people energized towards executing those ideas, it's a good business practice.
Okay. I also understand you've written a book recently. Can you tell us something about this book? What is this book all about?
If I may do some shameless promotion,
Sure,
in fact, let's put it up the right way. So this is a book, Self-Leadership, how to become a more successful, efficient and effective leader from the inside out. The tagline came from McGraw-Hill, my publisher. I co-authored this with Dr. Anna Kazan, who did her research in self-leadership, and she contacted me through the internet. We've never actually met. And we agreed to collaborate because we're both passionate about this concept of self-leadership. And so this book is the models and theory of self-leadership, and it includes the research that Anna has done and the stories from the practical consulting work that I've done with companies that gives you a roadmap on how you can become a self-leader and how you can develop self-leaders within your team or organization. That's the purpose of the book.